Alright, this is another setup that I've had for quite a long time, about 10 years. This is a Shimano Curado 200. It's the 200G. It's the G series. Really good reel. This is kind of the medium gear ratio, all-purpose 6.5 to 1. What I've got on here is just some 12-pound fluorocarbon, pretty much good for anything. These are really nice reels. Alright, as far as the rod, it's actually a pretty cheap rod that I got from Gander Mountain. I think it's a 2013 model. Just the IM6 graphite, so it's not that sensitive. It's a little bit heavier, but I don't mind. I'm not fishing any tournaments or anything, so that's fine with me. Got the nice Fuji guides that most rods have. And they no longer make this rod. This Gander Mountain is no longer really in business. And what I've got on here is just a 4-inch Strike King swim bait. Don't remember the color, but usually I just use something fairly natural, white, silver, greens if the water is murky or a little bit muddy. And I believe this is a 3/16 ounce, either 3/16 or just a 1/4 ounce swim bait head, nothing special. I like to use this setup at lakes, ponds, sometimes in the river. Usually I'm using spinning reels in the river. This is really just my sort of generic rod. Sometimes worm rod setup. I can throw spinner baits with it. And you can see I've taped up the handle. I wrapped it with some wrap from Bass Pro, but didn't work out that well. So I just wrapped it in electrical tape. The handle's cork, so it kind of started to peel a little bit as it got older. So I just taped over it, and now it works pretty well. And to tie this on, I just used a Palomar knot like I use 90% of the time. And if you look here, I've actually super glued the head to the body. And if you do that, these baits will last probably 5 times longer. You might be able to get, 8, 10 fish on them before they start ripping off and sliding down that hook. So that'll save you some money. I usually do that ahead of time before I go out. I just super glue some different bodies to some different jig heads. That way I have everything all ready. If I'm out on the water and one gets ripped off, I can always switch without the super glue and then super glue it back together when I get home. But that saves a lot of money. So this setup outside of the river, if I'm on a lake, at a pond, this is the setup I'm using for bass. So that is my second video, a Shimano Curado 200G6 on this Gander Mountain 7-foot long medium heavy rod, 12-pound fluorocarbon, in this little 4-inch Strike King swim bait, super glued onto a 1/4 ounce swim bait jig head.